Welcome to the yoga session. Find yourself in a comfortable position on the mat. You're welcome to start it seated. You're welcome to set some support for the sit bones if you need so. And let's close the eyes and have a first couple of moments focusing on the pace of breathing. Taking the breath in through the nostrils, breath out through the nostrils. Focusing on the breath will help you to calm your mind and set your mind to follow the movements that we will be exploring. That body will move through one position to another position. Being able to connect the breath to the movement. Being able to connect the breath to sensations of the body while you hold certain positions. Setting the mind to be on the mat with the body for next 60 minutes or so. Refraining from planning your day, your week, the whole holiday season. All that could be done after the practice. If you would like to have your own personal intention for the practice, think of a word or phrase. And from here, allow yourself to drop the chin down to the chest and maybe press the hands against the knees and round your spine and allow yourself to stretch the spine in this flexed position, going as far as you can go, really engaging the frontal abdomen muscles to press into the spine. Press the chin and then allow yourself to move the head from side to side, stretching the sides of the neck. Don't rush, go slowly, explore the tension that maybe you can notice. And then let's come back into the straight spine position. Bring your hands behind the hips on the floor and slightly lift the chin up, feeling a bit of a stretch in the front of the neck, squeezing slightly the shoulder blades like you press the chest up. Feel some stretch in the front of the shoulders. And then let's again release and come back into the neutral position. Take the right arm across the chest, press the left forearm into the right shoulder, start feeling stretch around the right shoulder, around the right bicep here. And then let's change, taking the left arm across, press with the right forearm into the elbow. Try not to lift the shoulder, try to keep your shoulder down, press it to the chest. Ideally you keep your straight arm parallel to the floor if it's available, if it's possible. And let's release, let's interlace the fingers. Turn the palms up toward the ceiling, reach up, and here we have a tendency to press the chin into the chest to compensate some immobility of the shoulder. So try to keep the chin parallel to the floor. And let's just move the arms from side to side. Think like you want to press the rib cage to the opposite side rather than dropping arms or head. Think of the warming up the thoracic area of the spine. And then bring the arms in front. You can release the palms. And again, like think of pulling the arms away and pressing the chest back. Again, trying to focus only on the upper back here. And then let's release the hands. Slide with the right hands toward the right edge of the mat. Drop the head. And then allow yourself to take your left arm to the area where it feels comfortable for the shoulder. And this time open the whole left side of the body. So the whole spine, including the lumbar spine, comes into the lateral flexion. And then release the left arm, hold here for the breath. Then walk with the left hand, take the right arm over the head. Open the rib cage on the right side. Feel some stretch in the waist area, but try to be grounded through the legs. Try to keep the legs heavy on the floor. And let's release. Let us release the right leg and adjust your hips so your hips will be square toward the right foot, and then bring your right hand against the left thigh and very gently twist yourself. So it's a very first twist, so don't be aggressive here. You can even release the body toward the center and then twist again, and you can do it several times, just twisting here. Should feel like a massage, shouldn't feel like anything too extensive here. And I will change. We will extend the left leg, bend the right knee, adjust the hips to face the front, bring the left hand against the right thigh, right arm behind, and we'll twist to the right. Again, it will be a gentle twist here. So just telling your spine you will twist it later on, maybe in more excessive way. And let's return back to the center, from which we just cross the ankles and move into the tabletop position. So as we come into tabletop position, we're checking how the wrist feels to support us here. Let's go into the circular movement with the shoulder, just addressing a different point of the wrist inflection. Change the direction, so maybe go one direction and then change the direction, or go up to 3 one direction and go up to 3 the other direction, whatever feels good for you. Sometimes to go and change direction for one time, it feels like a little bit dizzy, so you might want to go several moves one directional. And let us just stop, have a quick release of the palms, bringing the back of the palms in front of the knees, on the sides of the knees, trying to bring your elbows straight, and then we'll return back into tabletop position and immediately come into the cat stretch. So this time we can involve the lumbar spine, we can move the pelvis because it's free now. So think of tucking the tailbone under, and then very slowly move into the dog stretch. And from here, use your breath to move your spine from one position to another position. Have your breath really long so you have enough space, enough time to manipulate with the full range of movement in the spine. Full extension, whatever is available, full flexion, whatever is available. And then let's come to the neutral position. Just to wake up the core muscles, let's have first of all strong shoulders. Engage your arms and then tuck your toes and lift your knees off the floor for 1 inch and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, one, drop the knees down. Again, let us have a bit of the stretch for the wrists. Bring the back of the palms down. And then return back into the tabletop position, making sure that you're not squeezing your shoulder blades. You're puffing the space between the shoulder blades up, keeping neck parallel. Don't drop the head, and make sure you're in a neutral spine position. Let's one time to hold this, tucking the toes, lifting the knees, and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Drop the knees, take your knees a little bit wider, drop the hips back, stretch the arms, and focus on elongation on the sides of the body. So just try to connect to the sensation of a length between the base of the palms and your hip bone, because that's what we want to feel in the downward dog. But in a downward dog is a little bit more complicated because we have more weight on the hands, and sometimes our arms are a bit of the weaker side. Our shoulders have some limitation, maybe limitation in the lower back, so it's hard to find a hip hinge. So just allow yourself to feel the how you slide in the shoulder blades toward the base of the spine, creating some space between ears and the shoulders. And then when we come to downward dog, try to keep this sensation. So tuck your toes and lift your hips up and bend your knees like you had in a child pose, and try to focus on the length of the sides of the body. So long spine, and shake your head here, relax the neck, taking the breath, and then dropping the knees down to the floor. And let's step the right foot forward into the 90-90 lunge here. So let us take the arms parallel to the floor, make a fist here, and then we will work on the shoulder mobility. So let us rotate the left shoulder in, right shoulder out, and then change. So go on your own pace. Make sure that your arms are engaged here and you're going into isolation. So go in 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's release. Let's change. So the knee is resting. Step the left foot forward. And this time we'll bring the arms in front. We'll make a fist. And now we're going to be squeezing the shoulder blades into a protracted position and then move it forward. So you're not bending your elbows. You're trying to do the movement from the muscles around the shoulder blades. Activate the scapular position here and work with the core to maintain the balance. So going for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And let's release. Let's again come into the downward dog. And now, after some manipulation with the shoulders, see if that's helping you to be more comfortable, and you have more space to slide the shoulder blades. You have more connection to this area. You really can align the head to be between the arms. Keep your knees bent if you need, but you can also pedal your heels to stretch a little bit hamstrings and calves here. Taking the breath one more time, and then let us walk to the front of the mat. Hand here for the breath. Release the head down, and then very slowly come up into standing position. Just taking a moment here. Let the blood circulation come back to normal, and we will have this light resistance band be in front of the mat, so we can pick it up anytime when we need. While we're going to go into the sun salutation flow, but we will be using that a little bit, just to add a little bit extra resistance. So coming into the mountain pose, maintaining the neutral position for the pelvis, and let's with inhale lift the arms up, stretching the sides of the body but not jamming the top of the shoulders, keeping shoulder blades down. Hinge from the hips, you can have the palms together and fold forward all the way down. Then let's step the left foot back, drop the left knee down where it's comfortable, and just pull the band to be under the right foot. And then just lift the torso up. So now you can hold the band here. And of course, because we're on one knee, you will need to use your core muscles to have here the balance. You can be a little bit more forward, you can a little bit more back, whatever feels more comfortable for you to engage your abdomen muscles. And now from here, we will move the fist into the hips. So not into the shoulders, but into the hips, squeezing the shoulder blades, and hold here, and then release. So it's a really slow movement. I want you to focus what's happening in the area of the shoulder, what's happening in the area of the upper back. So you're not coming to the armpits, you're coming to the hips. Elbows go straight back. You have a 90 degree in your elbows, and release. And again, squeeze and hold. Use your core to hold the balance. Release. We have 2 more times. Squeeze and hold, and release. And 1 more time. Squeeze and hold, and release. Release the band in front. Release your back knee, and step into downward dog. Exhale. You can walk your dog a little bit, then hold that with the straight arms, and then flow into plank. Let us have the first plank with the knees on the floor. So make sure shoulders are above the palms, tuck the tailbone under, pull the belly in, squeeze your glutes, press the floor, focus on the upper back, and then very slowly come down to the floor. Exhale. Make sure that you're readjusting your hands to be on the bottom of your rib cage. So aligning as much as possible your base of the palms with the lower rib. And then have a strong legs. Lift your face just a little bit. You don't need to go into back bend. Roll the shoulders back, squeeze, and just try to mimic the same movement that we did with the resistance band. Lift your palms off the floor. So sending your base of the palms toward the hips a little bit, and elbows up toward the ceiling. Working here on the upper back strength. Neck is neutral. You're looking down, or maybe even having eyes closed. And then press the hands to the floor and press yourself into the child pose. Exhale. Long spine. Walk your fingers forward. Be active in your arms. Take an exhale, and the next exhale, come into downward dog. Exhaling here. Then let's bring the knees down to the floor and step your left foot forward. Picking up the band. Again, finding your balance. You can be a little bit more forward. That's a little bit easier to hold. Or using more core strength to hold your 90 degree. This time taking the band in front of you. Maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width. And we're going to be stretching till we touch the sternum, the chest bone, with the straight elbows, and then release. Okay? And go on your own. Try to hold the balance. You decide how much resistance you have here. You can have it a little bit lighter. You can have it a little bit harder. Also depend on which resistance band you have at home. And let's go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's place the resistance band down to the floor and step into the downward dog. Exhale. So now, after we just woke up a little bit the chest muscles, try to Think of the shoulder position like sitting between the layers of the muscles in the front of the body and layers of the muscles on the back of your body. And try to find the activation from their arms, triceps, muscles around the shoulder blades, but also think of your chest muscles. You just worked on them a little bit, we touched them a little bit, so think of activating them as well to maintain the stable position for the shoulders. And then move your shoulders forward, drop the knees down to the floor again, tuck your tailbone under, really strong core here, and then move your shoulders forward and use your triceps to control your lowering down. Exhale. Reset your hands on the sides of the rib cage again. Base of the palms aligning with the lower ribs, and then your strong legs, of course, lifting the chest off the floor, keeping shoulders back, and have just a base, just the tip of the fingers touching the floor, base of the palms comes off, elbows goes back, and see if you can lift the palms again, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press the hands to the floor and press yourself into the child pose, but be active in your arms in this child pose. Trying to keep your elbows straight, palms off the floor. Work on separating the shoulder blades here. Take an exhale and then look forward. Tuck your toes and come into the downward dog. Exhale, long spine, then look forward. Walk to the front of the mat. Hand here for the breath, and then slowly roll up into the standing position. Exhale. Taking the breath here. Now feel the chest muscles also helping you to open the shoulders. Let's go to another flow with inhale, lift the arms up. Bring the palms together, exhale, folding forward, dropping the head completely down. Stepping the left foot back, this time into the lunge, picking up resistance band, coming up into the warrior one position for the torso, and taking the arms overhead with a band. Again, you will decide how much resistance you have in the band, and now try to keep your left arm up, aligning with your head, and just pull the right arm down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come up over the head, bring the band down to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale. On next inhale, step your left foot forward into the lunge. Pick up the band, come up. Use the back leg for support. Take the band overhead. Focus on grounding yourself through the right leg. And let's pull the left arm. So use the right side as a solid support for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Release it overhead. Bring it back to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale. And this time on inhale, you flow into plank and you're holding the knees off the floor. Push the floor. Tug the tailbone under, holding the abdomen muscles all pulled into the spine here, resisting to the gravity. And then drop the knees. Exhale, come all the way down. Let's, for this variation, interlace the hands behind the back. Pull the shoulder blades together. Roll the shoulders back. Engage the legs. Lift the legs off the floor. Lift the chest off the floor. Holding this variation of Superman for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Release the legs. Bring the hands on the sides of the rib cage and press yourself into the child pose. Exhale. Long spine. Taking the breath. Let's look forward and come into downward dog. Exhale. And then look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Set your feet hip distance. Hold here, hand here, have a passive stretch, and then very slowly roll up into standing position. Exhale. So let us for the next one work a little bit on two asanas, using the resistance bands to work more on alignment and more define muscle engagement. So if you have this wide band, you place the wide band over your knees, so somewhere on the thighs. If you don't have one, don't use it, or have something else. If it's working, if you have any loop band, put it over the knees and step into the pyramid pose. We're going to have a lot of props here. So have a blocks on the both sides of the right foot and have a band so you can reach it when we need it. So coming first into the pyramid pose, and because you have this band over your legs, okay, first what we're going to be focusing, yes, you're all there, so right foot in front between your knees, left foot back. The first what I want you to focus here today is the work of the left hamstring, because the band pulling your knee forward, and I want you to focus on pressing the left heel down, engaging the hamstring here. So let us just hold here for a bit. So focusing on the work of the right leg, okay? Squaring the hips forward. So resisting with a left leg into bend. And now from the hip flexors, let's fold forward and touch your blocks with the tip of the fingers. So here now we will use this reference of the band and blocks and mat and floor to get our left hip down. So your pelvis is here in neutral position. And because you have this band around, your legs are working really hard here. And I want you to be focused on your back leg work, on your back hamstring work. It's working a lot today. And now using your core, you're just picking up the band and stretching that to the side. And hold the band parallel to the floor. And just stretch a little bit. And continue to press your hips back and continue to press your left leg back. A lot of work. Try to keep your straight spine here. So I see some of the spines are rounded. So let us come all the way up and let's rest. We're going to do left side and then we're going to do it one more time. So having the band on the blocks first, step your right foot back. You don't need to go really wide because depend on which resistance band you have, you might be really limited. Your right knee want to bend. Start focusing on finding the work of the right hamstring here. Distributing the weight to the back leg, because in this position, because of the tightness, we love to bring all the weight to the left foot, the front foot. And now from the hip hinges, fold forward. Bring the hands on the blocks first. And take a moment to align your pelvis. So because I saw some of you have limitation and you to reach the blocks, you're rounding in your spine, you're here. I want you to lift, so forget about blocks and just press the hands into the hip flexors or even bring the hands to your lower back. So you might be here, 45 degree. 45 degree, yes, much better, much better. And keep reaching with the crown of the head forward. Keep sending the tailbone back and pressing the right heel. Yeah, that's what I want you to do. And then just reach to the band and stretch it a little bit. Stretch it a little bit. I want you to feel the work of the arms here, chest and core, balance. So hold. There, much better, much better. Continue to send your tailbone back and let's release. Okay, so you can hold the band in your hands right now. And I will not give you cues to reach the blocks, but if you're practicing with a recording and you actually can go down, you're welcome. For the live class, I will modify that a little bit. So let us find the right foot in front, left foot behind, and focus on this hamstring work, glute work. And let us bring the band around your hip creases and bring the arms back. So you're not really stretching, but it might feel like stretching. And think when you start folding forward, when you're taking your tailbone back, you're also taking your arms back, right? So it's like someone is pulling your hips back, right? So use this as a self-assistance here to get your neutral spot. And you might stay really high with your torso. And when you're sure that your hips are square, when you're sure that your lower back is neutral, you can release the arms to hold this overhead. Not really stretching much, just a little bit. So the whole body right now worked in a very asymmetrical pose, and you need to hold yourself using the core strength, using your leg strength, focusing on the work of the hamstring. Release the arms, release the torso up and change. I know it's hard. So stepping the right foot back, squaring the hips, bringing the band around the hip creases. And as you start folding, use your own adjustment. It's like you pulling your hips back. So you're a little bit working on your triceps here, right? So stopping where you stop. So don't need to go low. I don't want to see on the screens like this. You are straight, neutral spine. And when you found this hinge with a straight spine, you're taking the arms overhead, slightly stretching the band, holding 4, 5. Focusing on the right heel, right hamstring, and release. Okay, that was hard. Walk inside the band. We will need it again for triangle. So this triangle might be a little bit narrow in stance because of the resistance bands. Turn the right foot out, left foot in. Why I want today to use the bands for pyramid pose and triangle, I want you to work on your legs in those poses, right? To feel how that works. So have the band maybe in the left hand for now. Bring the right hand to the hip crease and get your fold. So it's very similar to what we just practiced in pyramid pose. The difference here is that we're facing the plane, the wall in front of us. And focus on taking the left hip out, grounding the outer edge of the left foot, and think of the torso as compensating this hard work of the legs. And you can stay here, just working on the left shoulder goes back. But if you like to add a little bit to that, take the band. Allow the right arm to be continuation of the right torso, and just have a little bit of the stretch of the band, taking the left arm up toward the ceiling. And work, reaching. So think like you go with the right arm away of the left arm, going here, stretching the band. At the same time, your left hip, pushing it other side. So two direction, to the right with the arm, to the left with the hip. Keep yourself as parallel as possible to the plane in front of you, and let's release. So let us, without changing the distance between the feet, turn the right foot in, turn the left foot out. So allow the right hip to be rotated forward a little bit, and get yourself into this hinge. Okay, and you're welcome to practice just this. Not adding the band into your arms or holding the arms without band. That's a possibility if it's too much for you. And then let us take the arms. So think of pulling yourself to the left with the left arm. So right arm goes up toward the ceiling, and left arm goes away parallel to the floor. And in compensation, you're sending the right hip away, working with the right leg. So finding, here is the center, torso goes to the left, hips goes to the right. Use those resistance band to, work a little bit harder and maybe find a little bit more muscular engagement and release. Okay, that was a lot, I know, so just catch your breath, move your hips, and then let us have toes open to the side. And let's just come to a couple of squats here, focusing on taking the knees out. So because we today have a resistance band, your inner thighs are working more. I am working hard to ask some of you to get your knees over the heels. So maybe today you're going to find your inner thighs working more and you're finding this position. And if you like, you can come into the squat hold, bring the band in front, and just go into some stretching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and let's release. Let's put the band on the floor, take the loop band away, step to the front of the mat, close your eyes, just take a moment to catch your breath. You definitely right now feel a lot of the core engagement. You're suddenly finding this is the center of your body. Any position to hold the balance, you need to use your core because the pyramid pose and triangle is a very asymmetrical poses. So you should feel it. You hopefully feel some warm sensation in your hamstrings right now. And that's what I also want to emphasize, how important hamstrings are in our leg work. And let's just flow. With inhale, lift the arms up. Bring the palms together, hinge from the hips. Exhale all the way down. Touch the floor and step your left foot back. In a nice distance lunge, right away use your left hamstring to get you a straight back leg, front knee 90 degree. Take your arms overhead. And just imagine that you have a resistance band and you need to stretch the band. Find some triceps and some upper back work here to define your arms. Bring all fingers together. Keep engagement on the core, so don't collapse to the lower back. Hold those tight strings in front of the body. On exhale, bring the hands to the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale. Taking the breath, flowing into plank, pushing the floor, holding the plank, dropping the knees, coming all the way down, exhale. Reset the hands on the sides of the rib cage, pointed toes, lift the chest up. Press the floor, tuck the toes, exhale, enter the downward dog. Long spine. Stepping the right foot to the midline, stepping the left foot forward. Into lunge, immediately finding the back leg for support, lifting the torso up, knee 90 degree. Embrace the core, taking the arms up. Again, visualize that you're stretching the band here. Keep all fingers together. Keep engagement of the upper back. Hold. Try to press the right heel down to the floor. That's going to help you to keep the back leg straight and supporting. Bring the hands to the floor. Step into downward dog. Exhale. Head between the arms. On inhale, flow into plank. Squeeze the glutes. Push the floor. Drop the knees. Exhale. Come down. Reset the hands on the sides of the rib cage. Pointed toes. Lift the chest up. Shoulders back. Neck neutral. Tuck the toes. Exhale. Come into the downward dog. Long spine, taking taking the breath. And the next inhale, walk to the front of the mat. And then hang here for the breath. And then let's slowly come up into the standing position. Exhale. Okay, because we have resistance band already prepared, we're going to use it for the balance pose. And let us set up this way. So step with the right foot to one side of the band. Okay? And then just hold the band with the thumb facing the back with the wrist up. So you're stretching that along your right side of the body. You feel a little bit of resistance. So if you have any shoulder resistance, so just release it. So keep it really light. It doesn't need to be extra stretched, right? Anything that helps you to be focused on that solid right side of the body, and immediately start bringing the body weight to the right foot, engaging your glutes, engaging your lats, obliques here, and then lift your left leg up, and let us take the left arm in front, just parallel to the floor. Hold, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. So we'll let us practice that on the other side. So stepping with the left foot, opening the palm with the thumb facing back, putting the band on the top and stretching it up. So your wrist is straight, right? So that's why we want to hold this way. Again, finding the resistance. If you find it, oh, it's too hard, just release a little bit. And engage again, all the left side, glute, lat, oblique. Of course, lower abdomen will work as well. Lift your right knee and bring your right arm in front. Holding, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Shake your legs. And this time, we'll bring the band behind the body to step the right foot in. Okay, so you can lift your leg. And, well, I hope you have enough length of your band. If not, you just adjust where you hold in the band with the arms. So hold to the edges of your band. Right, and start coming here, the body weight on the left foot, and lift your right leg off the floor. Flex the foot and think of pressing the heel away, and then just bring your arms a little bit forward so you have a little bit of resistance. But try to focus not on the pushing the arms forward, but pushing the leg back. Yeah, that's good. Very good adjustment. Now you got it. So pressing the leg back. So you should feel even work on the standing leg hamstring, right? So the whole awareness is coming to the back of your body rather than to the left quadricep. And your abdomen, all the core, helping you to balance here and release. Okay, yeah, I see that you were right where I wanted. So let us step the left foot back and come to the tippy toes. So already here, just stretch a little bit so your band is not loose. And bring the body weight to the right leg. Lift the left foot, press the heel away. Engage your hamstrings. And just a very, very little. Push the arms forward, but so pulling the band, but you actually pressing the heel back, pressing it. So focus on the back of the left leg and a lot of a core work, holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. I want you to do it again, and I want you to focus on your trapezius. I'm pretty sure some of you pull the band with the shoulders, right? Lifting shoulders up. So I want you to focus on squeezing the shoulder blades down this time, while everything else is the same. So bring the right foot around the band. Bring the body weight to the left foot, just a little bit, pull the band forward a little bit. And now, before you lift the leg, roll the shoulders down. With this, you engage in your core and leg comes off the floor. It doesn't need to be high, and continue to work from the right glute and right hamstring to press the band. So don't think of pulling forward, think of pressing back, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. And other side. Yep, I saw some very nice images on my screen of you doing this exactly how I would like to see that. So come in here, pulling forward a little bit, rolling shoulders down, engaging the core, and then lifting the left leg. And then focusing on pressure of the heel away, working on the hamstring. The standing knee in a soft position, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Very good. Let us come into seated position. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Just have a very relaxing fold. Have a bit of a passive stretch. Relax the shoulders. Feel some inner thigh stretch. Take in the breath. And then we'll come out with the right leg in front, and I want again to bring the band around the right foot. So because you have a band today, you will have a bit more control of your foot. So the foot is perpendicular to the floor, so big toe is up toward the ceiling. And before we'll continue, reset your hips to be parallel to the front edge of the mat and hold your band with some resistance. So you don't need to pull, you don't need to bend your elbows are straight. And first you want to reach up through the crown of the head, finding your neutral spine. And now just walk with your hands, straight elbows, walking the hands on the band, feeling that the band is pulling your chest forward. It's like you're releasing the resistance of the band by coming with the chest forward. So that's why you have to start with a little bit stretchy band sensation, but straight elbows, and then releasing the resistance and coming forward, and then come back. So if you find it's too light, walk your hands, have a little bit more resistance, straight elbows, and then release the resistance by coming with the chest forward, hinging from the hips, and then release again. So do it several times. So try not, take a look at me. So some of you I can see doing this. So all the folding forward is happening as the flexion of the upper back. You would like to go from the hips forward. So straight spine. Practice several times on your own to try to find this. Okay, and after you found your best position with a straight spine, you can again increase the resistance a little bit by walking your hands closer to the foot. And here you might bend your elbows to the side and continue to pull the chest forward. But you're not using your wrist. Your wrist should be straight. You're using a little bit of your biceps. And because we have a band around the foot, we feel some stretch on the calf and hamstring as well. Neutral neck. Don't look on your knee. Look far in front of you. Should be very similar sensation that you felt in pyramid pose along your spine. And let us find the other leg position. So bring your left foot in, bend your right knee, reset your hips. So start finding where you need to hold the band, that when you release the tension, you come into fold forward. So play here a couple of times. Find the resistance that working for you to keep your straight elbow, straight wrist, and this hinge from the hips. And then when you found that, let us hold, maybe walking hands a little bit closer to the foot, having a little bit more resistance, and then bending elbows is that. So creating the diamond shape. No flexion in the wrists, diamond shape. You should feel a lot of a stretch in your thoracic spine if you're holding that in a straight position. Here, a lot of attention rising. You feel it there. Neck is neutral. And let's release the band, and we'll come into the bridge position and take your loop band to place it around your thighs, again over the higher than the knees. And as you come into the bridge pose, set your feet hip distance, but because you have a band, you need to work a little bit on the inner thighs, right, to maintain the distance. So when you're ready, if you really feels like it's complicated for you to do it with a band, release the band and just do the bridge. But if you set your band, let us come into the bridge, lift your hips in a neutral position, and notice how you want to take your knees together and work with keeping the knees apart, having a gentle tension on the band, and sending your knees away from your hips, working on your glutes again, and coming all the way down. We have 4 more to do this slowly, focusing on the inner thigh work, glute, lower abdomen engagement, holding a bit of a tension on the band, neutral spine here, and coming all the way down. Exhale again, lifting the hips. You're welcome to do just the bridge, but focusing on the same position like we're focusing with the band, keeping knees going away, maintaining engagement of the inner thigh, coming all the way down, and again lifting up, holding, and coming down. And the last time, lift, and coming down. Let us bring the knees to your chest and release the glutes a little bit. We have 1 more repetition, but in a different position. So now, with a band over the knees, you're taking your knees apart. It will be glute work, but a different part of the glutes. So now you need to work with the inner thigh even more to maintain the knees apart, and you lift into the bridge. Hold the knees apart. Feel how a bit of a different part of the glute working, and coming all the way down. And see if you can actually not touch the floor and come up again. That's 2. Coming down just maybe a couple of millimeters off the floor without touching. Lift the hips up. 3. Coming down, in, up. 4. And coming down, and up. 5. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring the hips down to the floor and take the band away. Take your arms in T position. Take a breath here. Set your feet apart and drop the knees to the left, turning the head to the right, I feel some stretch around the right hip. You can modify the position by extending the left leg and sliding the right knee a little bit further. Feel a little bit more stretch around the right glute. You can bring the right heel under the left knee as well, creating a little bit more intense twist. You can take your right arm in Y position, creating a little bit more extra stretch in the armpit and the right shoulder, right pectoral muscle, a side stretch because we use it as well. So see where you want to be in this twist. It could be a lot of a different variation. Every small adjustment of the leg or arm position will give you a little bit different line of stretch. Start calming your breath here. Relaxing the core muscles because we use it a lot today with this light resistance work. And let's release the arm and come back to the center. Then reset shoulders and back of the head, drop the knees to the right. And just see how that feels. And here modifications could go with the right leg straight, left knee goes across, or left heel comes under the right knee slightly bent, and the left arm can go into the Y position, returning the head to the left. And let's release the left arm. Reset your hips back to the center. And then extend your legs. Find your arms resting on the sides of the hips. If it's comfortable to turn the palms up toward the ceiling, you can go ahead. If you feel that you would like to have some support for the back of the head, it could be a blanket here. You can definitely have a different position for the arms if that works for you, if this is something that your body desires to be in. And let's allow a bit of a calm moment in the practice after a very intense one, where you need to follow the cues and try to engage the parts, the muscles, aligning the joints in a very challenging for the mind position, something that we're definitely not practicing mindfully, even if we are in those positions during the functional movements of the day activity. We're not paying attention much, but practicing them mindfully, helping us to build a certain muscular pattern, and the movements will come easily in a safe manner. Allow a bit of a depth in your breath. Start moving the fingers and toes, circling wrists and ankles. Maybe rocking on your back till you're ready to roll on one side and come into seated position. Bring the hands in front of the heart. Thank yourself for being able to practice. And take the positive energy that you generated in your body, in your mind, to be a guide for the rest of the day. Namaste.